We will call the meeting to order. It is 6:02, and I will start by reading the remote meeting procedures. This meeting will be conducted remotely over Zoom. Attendance by board commission members will be remote, and remote attendance shall count towards quorum. The meeting will be broadcast live and recorded on ECAT. To use Zoom, you will need to use the link on the agenda or download the Zoom application at www.zoom.us and create an account or use one of the call-in numbers listed on the agenda. You will need the webinar ID to join by phone only. While conducting meetings remotely, we will endeavor to keep the meeting operations as close to our standard procedures as possible. However, use of this platform will necessitate some additional meeting protocols. While the board members, commissioners, and applicants will be on video and audio, public participants will join the webinar as attendee, meaning they are muted with no video feed from them. During the public testimony portion of the meeting, members of the public can be recognized by using the raise hand function found under participants from Zoom or make a request from the Q&A function. If you're joining by phone, you can press *9 to raise your hand. If an applicant wishes to display materials, please make the request to the chair and the email materials to board staff are sharing on the screen. When starting testimony, please state your name and address for the record. There's a markup function in Zoom which will allow you to call out specific areas of presentation materials. As in any public meeting, indecent behavior will not be tolerated. Anyone who abuses use of the meeting platform will be terminated from the meeting. Business will be handled at the times indicated on the agenda. Business not concluded in the allotted time will be tabled to the end of the meeting to allow for timely logins and remote attendance. Board members are asked to announce themselves when making a motion, and seconds will be cleared to the audience and minute takers who make motions. All votes will be by roll call. When all business indicated on the agenda has been completed, the members will vote to adjourn the meeting, signaling the end of the meeting and terminating of the ECAT recording. All participants will be disconnected from the webinar at that time. Applicants who join the webinar as an attendee and promoted to panelist at their agenda item, applicants will then be able to share their screens and present their materials. As much as possible, presentation materials should be provided beforehand so that materials can be included in the public record. Individual board chairs and staff may wish to keep screen sharing to their computer. Applicants are encouraged to speak with staff prior to the meeting on how materials will be presented. All right, so we will start with the roll call. I am here. Ken?
Present.
All right. Jamie?
Present.
All right. Lauren? You can see she's signaling yes. I don't know if sometimes there's a mute problem. Are you having the mute problem? Yeah, I know.
Present.
There you go. It does happen. Dave?
Present.
All right. Dan?
Present.
Nancy?
Present.
Jason?
Present.
And Leisha?
Present.
All right. Full house, 100%. Thank you for getting on. All right. So we will start with the approval of the meeting minutes. I sent those out for the November 12th, 2024 meeting. Did anyone have any questions, comments, concerns about the meeting minutes? Right. Seeing none, I will take a motion to approve of the meeting minutes of November 12th, 2024.
So move, Stebbins.
Stebbins, do I have a second?
Second, Carlson.
Carlson. All right, we will have a roll call vote. I am a yes. Ken?
Yes.
Jamie?
Yes.
Lauren?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
And Jason?
Yes.
All right, so those minutes pass unanimously, and so we will move right along to the Easton Public Safety and Public Works project update, and I'm sure Walter's going to fill us in on some good stuff.
Yep, absolutely. So I hope everyone had a chance to read the memo that we sent out yesterday evening. It had some good news for the project. So tonight we'll run through the procurement update, discussion and vote to recommend contract award to the select board, and then a schedule and next steps update. So pretty quick on our end. So on your screen right here, you'll see a list of the GC bid results. We did have 4 pre-qualified bidders. We did only receive 2 bids. Good news on that end is that both of the bids were very competitive in relation to each other, and they were both very competitive in relation to the construction cost estimates that were voted upon at town meeting back in 2020, in late 2023. Back then, the approved construction budget was 116,740,586. And our apparent low responsible bidder, Fontaine Brothers, came in at $1,507,000. A delta of about almost 10%, 9.5%, inclusive of the three alternates. So that would be the alternate 1, alternate 2, alternate 3, the canopies at DPW, and then the canopy at the public safety building. The alternates there are a total of $1,006,000. I believe that brings the number to $107,320,000, and a variance, delta from the approved construction budget of just above 8%. So we had great interest in the project. We had great bid results from the project, and we are very happy with what we received. Just for some history on these two bidders, PMA has specifically worked with Fontaine Brothers and Brate Builders as recently as the last few years on Blanche Ames, but also on the Beale Elementary School in Shrewsbury with Fontaine Brothers as a CM. So they have a history of delivering projects on time, under budget, between the two of them. So we'd be lucky with either of them. But right now, we feel that the recommendation should go to Fontaine. To recap the list of alternates that we have, DPW canopy, that is to omit the foundations and include in that area, and then include the foundation slab metal building at the back of the DPW. Alternate 2 takes that canopy to the entire length of the building, and then the police parking canopies are alternate number 3. Greg, anything to add on the alternates there?
No, I think they're pretty straightforward, Walter. These are exactly as presented previously in our building committee meetings and as noted in the drawings. That said, the ability to do these alternates now is fantastic, particularly with alternates 1 and 2. Doing those later is really, pretty difficult to do with the metal building once you kind of finalize that. Not that it's not possible, but it's much more cost effective and efficient to do them now. Alternate 3 is certainly an important alternate for the police. Getting their vehicles under cover. Pretty much everybody else's vehicles are inside. Police is not. So getting their vehicles under cover in the winter is a really great thing for the project to be able to do. Should the committee and select board authorize that in the bidding. We were lucky to have some competitive bids, and we're able to do those if the committee so chooses.
I think, Greg, another thing to note on these alternates is these were cost-conscious decisions that this municipal building committee made to carry these as alternates. Had we had better or numbers, a couple of years ago with the estimates, these very likely would have been included in the base bid. But being where we were with the estimates and being where we were with the vote that was approved and making sure that commitment was met to the vote, these were carried as alternates. But these are all items that will preserve the longevity of vehicles and machinery that's utilized in the town of Easton. So I think they're great alternates. They were bid the right way, and happy to see the numbers come in that way. So Andy, I think what we'd like to do at this time is to turn it back over you for a MBC vote to recommend the GC contract award to Fontaine Brothers, and discussion or just inclusion of alternates 1 through 3 to go to the select board on Monday evening, February 10th.
All righty, and I think what we'll probably do, Walter, is just roundtable this a little with the members. So I was going to ask you just a couple quick questions. Of the 4 that were pre-qualified, any particular reason the other 2 didn't bid, just in your experience or what you know?
I think WT Rich, they had the biggest site presence at the walkthrough, and I think they may have walk themselves around the site and talk themselves out of a very good job. Other people are not as intimidated by the job. I think they might have been a little bit intimidated walking through the woods. And then the fourth firm had other obligations that they were committed to, but also had multiple estimators leave their firm, and they were just not able to provide the level of estimating that they would have needed to be competitive on this project.
Good explanation. And maybe you could just give the committee in a very general sense, we don't need great detail about that whole pre-qualification process for these generals. Just in, just at a high level, what that screening process is like, because I don't think we've met since that all happened.
We have not. So it's a pre-qualification process. RFQ goes, a request for qualifications goes on the street. There are a general scoring categories that need to be met, minimums in each of the categories. We worked with the pre-qualification committee established by this committee to draft those RFQs, put them on the street. There's notifications in the newspaper, local newspaper. There's advertisements on the Central Register. There's advertisements on the Goods and Services Bulletin that Dave Field helped us with. Once those packages are received, the PMA team, the KBA team, and the pre-qualification committee reviewed every one of the packages, and then we set out on our reference checks. So trying to get 3 references from, I believe, 115 contractors in all divisions of work. So we were able to complete that task as well. I believe we had 1 or 2 that were bounced based on similar project experience. And 1 or 2 that were bounced on references. And that was really it. So out of the 115, I think we ended up with about 109 or 10 that were pre-qualified for the process. Filed sub bids were received. We had great interest in the project there. From there, we make sure that those bids were inclusive of everything they needed. We post those online for the general contractors to craft their bid. They craft their bid with those numbers and the remaining scope of who they'd like to work with. We really don't have a say in who they select from there once they're pre-qualified and they bid. The GC can utilize anyone on the list that's been approved and has submitted a bid, inclusive of if they're not the low bid. We actually did have that occur with Fontaine. They chose to take the second low bid for the plumbers. In order to carry some WBE certification for SDO in order to meet their obligations as well. So all in all, process takes about 2.5 months to go through, 3 probably total when you get to the full bidding phase for the general contractors. So we started this in mid-October and we wrapped up on January 31st. So pre-qualification through bidding.
That sounds like a lot of work, and thank you.
Yeah.
That's a lot of stuff to go through. So I'm just going to go down the list and just ping every person on the board just to get their comments, questions, comments, concerns. So Ken, I'll start with you. If you just want to chime in, what your thoughts are.
I think we could be happy with the results, given the uncertain bidding climate at the moment. It's kind of tough to predict. So I think that's really good news. I was just curious if Fontaine does any of their own sub-bid work, or are they using all filed sub-bidders?
They will be utilizing all the filed sub-bidders. They do sometimes self-perform work, sometimes for very intricate millwork or carpentry, or sometimes for door frames hardwares. We're not sure who they're going to be utilizing for the non-filed subs at this point. They're still working that out, and they're allowed, that's their prerogative to have whoever they want on that end. But we do have a list of their filed subs. So no, they did used to do masonry as well, and they were pre-qualified in years back, but they're no longer carrying masons under the Fontaine filed sub-bid category.
Just one last thing. How many significant projects have they done in Eastern Massachusetts?
Fontaine?
Yeah.
I'd have
What are
to
they from
check. But
Springfield, I think?
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
from Springfield. They work all over the state, though. They did the Plymouth Town Hall. They did the Middleborough High School. I'm trying to think of other ones that were out this way. Chad or Mitch or Chris or Greg, feel free to jump in. Those are the two that come to mind right away for them. Oh, they did the Cape. Oh, geez, Monomoy Regional on the Cape. So they're capable to get across the state.
That's great. I had a not so pleasant experience with some Western Mass contractors, but coming out to East. But that's good news.
Yep.
Really good. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Ken. Jamie, you want to chime in?
Yeah, just ask. So Walter and Chad, you guys most recently worked, or some of the team worked with them on Beale Elementary, is that right?
Yep, I did specifically.
And where's Beale?
It's in Shrewsbury.
Okay. And
Much
would you
more.
say-
They were unbelievable to work with. It was a difficult site, and that project was 2019 groundbreaking of a CM job, and hit COVID in the middle. We came in 10 million under on schedule. They couldn't have been better to work with. It was a good experience.
That's great to hear. It. Any other challenges on the site? I know when we look at the substation, whether we run in, the rock ledge and things like that. But did you run anything like that in Shrewsbury? Where?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
We actually, it was if anyone wants to Google 210 Lake Street and go back 10 or 15 years, it was an abandoned hospital facility that was being run by the state. So we actually had to demo the site, and the site actually has a retaining wall going through it, about a 25 footer to cut the site in half. So that the front is ground level, and out the back, what you'd call the basement is ground level. So very difficult site to work with. We reconstructed a road with a water main through it that we had to put a temporary bypass in. We took down a farm on the other side, an abandoned farm as well. So they are very capable of working in very difficult sites.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Yep.
One on to Fontaine, so the town of Shrewsbury, the reason that they choose CM at risk delivery is actually to work exclusively with Fontaine for the most part. So they pay that premium upfront, knowing they're going to incur that premium just to know that it's going to be Fontaine. So I think that speaks volumes.
All right, Lauren, you want to, any questions, comments, concerns? Unless we lost, let me see if she's
I have no questions. It seems like a solid recommendation.
all right, great. And Dave, you want to chime in?
Sure. On behalf of DVW, we're very happy with the bid results and the fact that the alternates can be rolled into this project. Those were actually cost-saving measures that we definitely put down there to make sure our base bid came under. But the canopies at DPW and police are absolutely needed for this project, and so I'm very happy that those are able to be included.
Dan?
No, I think it's a good bid, and I think we're lucky to be able to roll in the alternates. Those are never going to be cheaper. Honestly, they're probably never going to get done if we don't do them now. And I'm very comfortable with Fontaine. They have a good reputation. So I don't have any other questions.
Great, thank you. Nancy?
Yeah, I agree with everybody and what they've said. I know we had a good run with Brait doing Blue and Chains, but I think we have to look at the money most of all, and I'm glad that we have the canopy, like Dan just said, that we have that to work with. And so, yes, I'm in favor.
Great, thank you, Nancy. Jason?
My thoughts are pretty much the same. Excited where the bid came in, really excited, as Dave pointed out, to be able to get those canopies in. I think that's going to be really beneficial to those departments in the longevity of a lot of their equipment and their staff to be able to use them appropriately. I think it's going to pay dividends over the course of the lifespan of this building and this project. So excited that all came in, and there's a little bit of room in the budget left over for things as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And Alicia, any comments?
No, it is, like I have heard other people say, surprising and encouraging that it has come in where it did. It's surprising, where things are right now. So that's very encouraging to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. Great, thank you. And I'll just, I'll hit up Justin, Chief. I just wanted to get your thoughts, as you'll be in one of these buildings.
I think it's wonderful. I was very happy to hear the numbers. Forgive me for not being on camera, but I got my 4-year-old in tow. But yeah, no, I'm very happy with it. I appreciate the support, and very excited to move into these buildings. I wish it was tomorrow, but thank you very much for everything everybody's done, and both KBA and PMA as well.
Right, great. And Philip, I just didn't know if you wanted to chime in on behalf of the police.
Hi, yeah, no, we're super excited as everybody else. That alternate actually was something that was frequently asked about by the rank and file, because with the original overhang, it was only going to cover like maybe 15% of our fleet, so we're super excited about that.
Yeah, well below it even with those with the alternates, so that's great. I know I saw Connor in there. I didn't know, Connor, if you wanted to chime in.
Sure, thanks, Andy, and sorry my office is so dim. I'm excited, and I know this is some of the only good financial news I've seen in 18 months, so it's a nice change of pace, and we're really relieved to see that, when you have those bids coming in within a point or so of each other, that's usually indicative that the design's really tight, so that's promising. I don't want to get over the town skis and count savings now, but remembering when we've done sewer projects or when we did Blanche Ames, you start with the largest, kind of scariest number, and there's contingency in there, and then you end up in a place where if you have some bid savings, and depending on how your change orders go, you could end up delivering the project at a much better place than what you had asked the voters to trust you to do. So this is a great step in that direction. We have 2 to 3 years of work ahead of us. But I'm heartened to see this come in. Even being able to roll those adults in and be, I think, $9 million under the budget is it's really nice to get some wind in our sails financially. And thank you all for the tremendous work. I know you've all been putting in on the NBC for a very long time on this. The feasibility for this was approved in 2021, 4 years ago. So thank you all.
Time has flown, that's for sure. Thank you, Connor. I was just going to ask one other question, Walter, to you and the group. In Fontaine, I think they've done some fire stations, right? From what I could see, their representative projects. I didn't know if they've done DPW, or is that? I mean, obviously, there's probably just less DPW facilities in general.
I'd have to check their project record, but I know that they did a police station in Shrewsbury. They just wrapped that up. It looks unbelievable. And they've done a fire station in Shrewsbury. They do a lot of work in Shrewsbury, like Chad said. They're the preferred contractor there. But they absolutely have. I just have to dig up if they did a DPW. Brian, have you done a DPW with them anywhere?
No, I was actually going to interject. So we have not done a DPW with them, but realistically, most DPWs don't come at a price tag of $105 million. So we haven't seen their type of contractors. We're usually not over $40 million for a Department of Public Works. So, but I feel confident. I've heard good things about them in the industry. Just haven't worked with them yet. So,
yep.
Yeah, and I've heard good things about them as well from everyone I reached out to. So, All right. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Anyone? I think we kind of made the rounds to everybody. So if not, I will take a motion to recommend. Don't take this down, Walter, so I can read it.
I got you.
All right. I will take a motion to recommend to the Select Board of Easton to execute a contract with Fontaine Brothers, inclusive of alternates 1 through 3, for the general contract bid for the Easton Public Safety and Public Works in the amount of $107,320,000. Do I have
Seventh.
Second,
Do
Chick.
I have?
Second.
Who was the second? Okay. Okay. All right. Move a roll call vote. I am a yes. Ken?
Yes.
All right. Jamie?
Yes.
Lauren?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
And Jason?
Yes.
Okay, so that motion passes unanimously. We are on our way. So maybe, Walter, with that, you can kind of give us the
You got it.
schedule for the next phase.
We will, so tonight we'll reach out to Fontaine and get them their draft contract over to them in advance of the select board. We'll get the select board a memo, tomorrow, for their use at their meeting. So contract, schedule, we have the fire substation, 330-day duration, fire subs, public safety, 485 contract duration. Really what that looks like here is, hopefully March of 2025, maybe February, but most likely March for groundbreaking at the fire substation, and public safety DPW. And then in April 2026, substantial completion for the fire substation, and in November 2026, substantial completion for public safety DPW. We'll be getting those contracts out to Fontaine once we get them from the select board. So with that, really, key dates are to get that contract out, a groundbreaking sometime February, March, very likely. We would be, if there's a desire for general project updates during March, April, May, once we really get going on site, I don't think we'll have much for a February meeting. So Andy, if or when you guys want to schedule those and there's a desire for a general project update, we're happy to give one. If you guys are going to skip a month, not a big deal. We can fire a quick update. We usually have those for internal anyway. But that's really key dates coming up. Happy to take any questions or comments from the committee.
Walter, are they doing the construction of each complex simultaneously?
Yep. They just have two different durations for substantial completion for the fire substation. So it's basically site by site. So 321 Main has a duration, and then 524 Depot has a duration, but they'll be simultaneous.
Thanks.
Yep.
Walter, maybe you and I can touch base at the end of February and see about scheduling a meeting for March, if it makes sense.
Yep.
Walter,
I don't think we might have one action item for the committee, but we won't have any action items for the municipal building committee. It would just be general project updates. So it's really whenever you guys when you want to have a meeting, I don't think we're going to need anything, but if we need something, we'll be sure to reach out in advance, a few weeks, if not a month in advance of something that the project might need. But yeah, end of February sounds good to touch base on a March meeting.
And like we had discussed, and there will be weekly construction meetings, that obviously anyone on the board can attend. They're during the day, so, it's going to be a challenge, but
they're real boring.
I'm going to try to get them.
Excuse me, Sean Dugan is in the box.
Sean, feel free to add him.
Is that yours, Walter?
He's assistant town administrator.
He's assistant town.
Oh, okay. So sorry.
That's okay.
Walter, the construction duration significantly longer for the substation. Is that what I saw?
No, other way around.
Other way around.
We get the bridges and the two buildings on the other site and the restoration of the trash.
And you'll keep us advised. I'm sure there'll be some type of groundbreaking ceremony, correct, Walter?
Oh yeah. We'll be in touch well in advance of something like that.
All right. All right. Well, I appreciate the update and everything. I mean, that was a lot of work, and the numbers are great. We didn't even talk about it, but as you know, we also have contingency in there, so you know, so we're in good shape. Knock on wood.
Certainly are.
All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone. PMA, KBA, Weston Sampson. We'll just keep chugging along.
All right. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good night.
All right.
Thank you.
So we're gonna stay on so that we can go to the Easton Public School Security Project. I've never done an executive session, so we're gonna give it our best. I sent everyone the email link so you can get in. Kathy hasn't either, so we'll work it out as we go. So the topic will be some design amendments, as you can see in the agenda, for geotechnical exploration, additional security design, and to sole source alertus as the mass notification provider for the Easton Public Schools. And we'll go into an executive session under Purpose 4, Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 38, Section 21A, to discuss the deployment, security personnel or devices or strategies with respect thereto. So what we're going to do is we will adjourn the open meeting. We will adjourn the open meeting and go into the executive session. So we won't go back to open meeting afterwards. So I will take a motion to go into executive session and adjourn the open meeting.
No move, Stebbins.
Okay.
Second, Bruce.
Bruce. All right. We'll call vote. I am a yes. Ken?
Yes.
All right. Jamie?
Yes.
Lauren?
Yes.
Okay. Dan?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
And Jason?
Yes.
Okay. So the open meeting is adjourned. Everyone should have that link that I sent out. And I have my cell phone, so if for some reason someone can't get onto the other session, just text me or call me, and I will see you shortly.